Kids Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Bryant, the All-American cornerback Chimdi Chekwa. This show is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Chill, man. We're still licking our wounds over here, man. We're not even a week out, man. Obviously, things didn't go well for us in the Cotton Bowl, taking the L to Miami, 24-14. I'm still down. Actually, my body let me down. I'm actually sick now, physically,
Yeah,
because of this game. Yeah, man. I'm kind of out of it, man. But how you doing, man? How you holding up?
I'm doing all right, man. Just watching some of these other games and seeing what gets it done, you start to reflect a little bit on, where Ohio State came up short. And, going back to some key plays during the game, you can see that this game could have easily been flipped the other way. If, some of the key guys who you thought, you expect to be playmakers made plays, right? It really starts at that quarterback position. You see Ole Miss quarterback, you see even, Georgia's quarterback, them going back and forth.
Right.
Even what, Miami's quarterback was able to do versus Ohio State and just taking care of the football and making key plays and key moments. To go on this championship run in the playoffs, I mean, you need a quarterback to go out there and win and have some winning plays, make some plays, right? You can't, and if you don't trust him to do it, you got to put the ball in somebody else's hands. You got to run the ball. You got to do something else that's going to force the issue. And I do think you could go back through the year and you just look at all year. The idea was that we're controlling the game, keeping guys fresh, minimizing the plays. Now, as you see the outcome, it really seemed like they were protecting Julian Saint a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, because when it could get down to the whole game is not going to be on schedule. It's just not. You're not going to go out there and the way we drew it up, it's the way it's going to happen. All you got to do is read the defense. Oh, it's covered two. The ball goes. Oh, it's covered one. The ball. It's never going to be that. So when the competition in the talent, gets tighter and things a little bit more even, you have to figure out ways to make plays. Is that with your feet? If it's in the pocket, you can stand there. Obviously, Julian Saint had a huge runner, but doing something in the pocket to kind of flip out, gets a little bit more space, create a little bit more time before you can kind of make that play down the field. So obviously, this is his first year starting, right? This is essentially, this is his first time on that huge stage and kind of understanding that competition. Obviously, we could talk about the offensive line, the trenches, and I guess we got to say that, we did a YouTube show right after this. So if you want our takes on the whole game and position by position, jump on our page on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and kind of check us out there. But we broke all this down, and what it comes down to is like we need Julian Saint to give us a little bit more when things are at its highest moment, so we can have that opportunity, to win some of these big games. Because this is year one, and obviously we coming off a national championship, and we got a first year star quarterback. This was the year to be down, right? And obviously we exceeded expectations, basically being number one team all season, to the Big Ten championship before we taking a loss. Next year, it's like, hey, you're the Heisman finalist, a 3-year guy. Nothing should be new under the sun to you, and you need to go out there and show it. So we're hoping that, he's watching, he's locked in on the rest of the guys that's still in this playoffs, taking some notes and understanding you got to do a little bit more in big time moments if you want the outcome to come out of your favor.
Yeah, and if from a defensive perspective, from Miami's perspective, you go into a game and you're trying to game plan versus a dynamic offense. And as a defensive coordinator, when you watch the team and you say, look, these guys are really good offensively, you got two options. You can look, we're gonna try to stop them from doing what they do, which is get the ball to these receivers. We're gonna go with two high safeties. We're gonna try to protect the deep ball, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what most teams do versus Ohio State. Or you could say, look, we're just going to try to affect the quarterback. We're going to try to slow down those guys, but we know at some point they're going to get open. So what we need to do is we got to hit the quarterback. And with that mentality, things are going to be open. We're not going to be able to cover everybody. Somebody's going to run free, but we're banking on the fact that we're going to keep hitting the quarterback. When guys catch the ball, we're going to hit those guys, and they're going to have to continue to respond and see if they can execute under that level of duress. And it proved that Ohio State couldn't, not for a full game. There was moments, but for a whole game, you go back and watch that game, you saw the opportunities where explosive plays were out there on the field, and they, for whatever reason, it just we weren't able we weren't able to connect on it,
Yeah.
and that's and if we and I look at it, man, Miami is a 2025 college football team, and that mostly built through the portal.
Mhm.
Bunch of guys who've been successful throughout their careers at multiple other places. And it's just gonna be interesting because there's a you see Ole Miss beating Georgia. You see Indiana destroying
Alabama.
Alabama, and
Yeah.
there's like two different philosophies, and some of the blue bloods who you know, get their recruits out of high school, try to develop them, and those are the primary for my team versus these teams that get coaches that say, "This is my structure, this is what I want," and they just go find those guys and implement them. Yeah, it's a contrast of approaches, and right now it seems like the latter is got the edge currently.
Yeah, I mean, look who have won the last couple national champions. Now we haven't crowned one this year, right? But obviously we're still playing things out. But if it's Indiana, if it's Miami, we know what they brought to the table. If it's Ole Miss, where they got some of their key guys from. Oregon, same thing. You look at Dante
Oregon
Moore.
State,
He's a
right?
transfer, right? And they get a lot of guys on the court. So I mean, that's the statue thing. When Ohio State won, we had a lot of older guys. Now we could pat ourselves on the back a little bit. A lot of our guys was around for a while, but we still got a quarterback at the transfer portal to come in to kind of get it delivered. Same thing with Michigan the year before that. They had a bunch of fifth year guys when they won a national championship with an asterisk on the asterisk national championship. But they had a much older team with a lot of veterans. Because when you look at this game, you look at the stat line, man, it was even. 18 first downs for both parties. They beat us on third down at 50%. We was only at 30. Total yards, we actually outgained them. We passed for 287. They threw for 138. But in the rushing is where they really killed us. Rushing at 153, we only had 45. I think we had like negative rushing yards in the first quarter, maybe 6 or 7 at going into the half. It was something ugly like that. We kind of hit on some things, right? But
Yep.
then penalties. Like we had 2 penalties for the game. They had 0. So I mean, what Miami played really clean, really smart football. And then turnovers. Obviously, we gave up a pick 6 and an interception late, and they gave up a fumble on there. I think that was their first drive to give a fumble. But overall, it's a pretty clean game. A lot of things are pretty similar, but it took the Carson Beck being the experience and doing a little bit more and keeping his team out there and answering Ohio State once we kind of got rolling with a field goal. And after we got a touchdown in the third quarter, figure out how to come up with, that's touchdown late. We kind of gave it to him, but keeping the ball, the time possession with them and in crunch time until essentially Ohio State had to kind of give up one and try to get itself an opportunity to get back into the game. So I mean, the season went how it went. Obviously, we're gonna lose some guys. We lost some guys.
Right.
um, but I guess we just expect a little bit more from Julian saying in the future as we continue to hear be the leader of our team. I think he could do it. I think he just needs to play a little bit more on his sleeve and take those opportunities when they come up. But we got to talk about our team of 26, man. It's getting kind of creepy out here, man. It's just obviously we know that transfer portal is open. I think it's only one portal this season. Usually it's one after. I think now in January there's one after the spring. They did away with the spring. It's one portal. Man, we got a lot of guys in the portal, man. We got a lot of guys in the portal. I want to call them out, but first I just got to get your thoughts on why is there so many kids in the portal? I seen a stat that said 31% of college football athletes are now in the transfer portal after the season, which is just a ridiculous number.
It's a
And there's
crazy
already
amount.
thousands and thousands of college. What's going on? How do we take
Yeah,
this?
when you get the headlines here, there, and there, and there, and it just hits you, and it's a little bit surprising. Lost 2 corners who I thought were some highly touted guys coming out of high school, guys who had a real opportunity going into this year to compete for some real playing time. Lost both of number 5s, number 5 on offense and number 5 on defense. Man, I don't know what's going on with my number, man. We got to figure out how to lock down this number and
The
and
five
and, and
ball.
get those guys on the field and produce. But yeah, what you kind of see here, and I've been thinking about this a little bit. What you kind of see here is after 3 seasons, you kinda know you get a little bit of the writing on the wall, right? From a player standpoint, and we know being former players, get a little antsy in terms of, what is my opportunity to start? Like, what is really my opportunity to start? Like, there's the coaches, yeah, you have an opportunity to compete, and then there's the reality of it, right? And I think what's happening with a lot of these players, because I think it's more than money. I think what's happening with a lot of these players is that the money helps you clarify where you stack up against your competition, right? Am I going to be getting money that is in line with a starting type role? If I'm not, then I'm likely not slated as the future player here. And this is just my speculation, right? And if that's the case, and there's
Yeah,
another school that's ready to play me this year, they're going to give me starting money. Now, there's no guarantees that I start, but it's very close to a guarantee because they're paying me like a starter. At some point, if you're trying to go to the NFL, you got to get on the field, right? And it'd be great to stay at Ohio State and get on the field at Ohio State, but you'd have to think 3 years in, writing's a little bit on the wall, and there's so much uncertainty, and there's certainty in this transfer portal.
yeah.
But some of these guys, there's certainty in the transfer portal. Sometimes you take the certainty, you get the money, but you also get the ultimate goal of being able to get on the field and keep your dream alive of getting to the next level.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, when it comes down to it, I don't care if you're at Ohio State, obviously a big power for school, and you have all those aspirations when you on signing day and one day get to NFL, or if you're, at the MAC. I'm not trying to throw shot at the MAC. Obviously, a lot of those guys are good players and go on and have success in a professional level as well. But if you're talking to the starter to the third level, everybody's goal is to get to the NFL, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you're at Bowling Green, you're the third string center, my plan is to get to the, every once in a while a guy would get it later and realize, okay, I need to go and figure something else out. But most guys, like, that's the goal, especially if you're a scholarship player. And that's how your upbringing, and that's what you were. You was that star player coming out of high school. You got this opportunity at the next level. Your goal is to get to the next level to figure out how to get that done. I think it's worth though. I got to call out our guys' names because I was going to try to keep up with this. But we got like 15, 16 players in this portal. I
yeah,
feel like it's almost our whole class of 24 almost is in the portal, man. So I don't know. I gotta say our guys' name. We got Miley Graham, wide receiver, Trevor Shabola, inside offensive lineman, guard, tackle, 2-year starter at Ohio
2 years
State. He got
starter.
in the
Yeah,
portal. Obviously, stuff got a little weird at the end. The fans kind of got on him a little bit. Looked like the coaches kind of got on him a little bit. Didn't play in our bowl game. But I know it's interesting. I think he was all Big Ten a year ago, with honorable mention or something like that. He had played good ball, and this year, maybe not so much, but I don't know. It's weird to see a guy like that get in the portal all the way, especially in the offensive line. Aaron Scott Jr., like you stated, one of our cornerbacks. Isaiah Kimmer, another offensive lineman. Dorian Williams, wide receiver. Demarion Witten, one of my tall blooders. This one hurt to see, man. My guy Toe, man.
yeah,
He's a tall blooder, man. He's a very special athlete. Yeah, everybody love some of the plays he made in high school is amazing. We want to see some of the next level. We never got to see it. He's now in the portal. Bakari Miles Jr., James People. Obviously, James People started the season as our starter
yeah,
running back. And now, due to the way things shaking out, that's what you're probably not so surprised about.
yeah,
But I don't know, man. He was just in year 2. He had a couple more years to develop and figure out his game. I think he got better as the season went on, but now he's in Portal. He'll be taking his talents elsewhere. Grant Mills, long snapper. Logan George, defensive end. Dominic Kirks, edge, defensive end. CJ Hicks, our guy. We've been talking about CJ Hicks for a long time here on this show. He's jumped in the portal. He actually already landed a spot. He's going down to USF. So he's going down to Florida. So shout out to CJ Hicks. Hell, I think this will be his 5th year, him giving a shot there. Bryce West, another cornerback, another tall blooder.
another
This
tall
one
blood.
hurts for me to see. But obviously we think like I think you said it yourself, like, this guy has a lot of ability. We saw it. He made some plays in this very small amount of opportunities, but obviously something was there that said, it's time for him to move on. Lincoln Klingholz, our backup quarterback. He's in the portal. He already landed a gig. He's going to Louisville. Mason Maggs, backup quarterback. Jelani Thurman, tight end for us, who's been played a good amount of snaps over the last 2 seasons. Obviously, not much in crunch time. He got in the portal. And then last but not least, Bryson Rogers got in the portal as well, another 4 or 5-star receiver that we brought in. We landed a guy. We got Mason Williams, a tight end out of Ohio. I imagine he'll be coming in replacing Will Cosmeric
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
role here. Don't know that for sure, but we landed a guy in the portal as well. But not a ton of guys, but we definitely lost a ton of guys as well. What's the thought here? What's
Yeah,
the plan, Chill? We lose a lot of scholarship
I,
guys.
I do.
What's your thoughts?
I would say to me the most surprising are the two corners. I thought both of them had an opportunity to probably compete this year, and get on the field. I think they likely. I say that, and they probably have an opportunity elsewhere to go start right now, and the uncertainty is less. It's probably more certain in the portal for them than it is here at Ohio State. And then Marlon Graham, a guy who's flashed a lot of talent, a lot of ability, just hadn't seemed to be able to crack the lineup much. And when he did play this year, I think one or two games he got a lot of opportunities. Wasn't able to make the plays. He got some opportunities, had some drops, had some misses, but he's a talented player. He was number one player out of the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Indiana doesn't get him, but man, they when they swing, they hit. They hit on every guy they want. They seem to be very clear on who they want, and they got the money to back it up. Yeah,
They
it's
already,
a
they
trick.
already landed at 26 quarterback too, right?
Already landed at 26 quarterback. Well, they're about to play in the playoff game, and they've already landed at their 26 quarterback and a bunch of other guys in the portal. I think the most concerning thing, honestly, because I wish the best for all those guys. I think the most concerning thing for Ohio State is how you feel that roster.
Yeah.
How you feel that roster? Because Ohio State, different than Indiana, different than Miami, different than some of these other teams that are they kind of make a living in the portal, right?
Mhm.
So this is their process every year. Ohio State hasn't been, that aggressive, and they haven't. And when they have been reported to be aggressive on a certain player or really want a player, they've lost those battles in terms of attracting that player,
Yeah.
um, you know, to the school. So I'm concerned on how the money is flowing to support Ohio State's ability to fill out the roster. Obviously, they're gonna have a class of young guys coming in, and it feels like Ohio State is gonna focus on the starters, the guys that can maybe go to the league now, but we can get them for another year. We invest in them, the guys that we know or expect to be a starter this year, and then they're gonna focus on guys coming up, right? That they don't have to pay as much. Young guys coming out of high school, invest a little bit of money in them. You got that $20 million roster amount. I'm sure that can cover a lot of the younger guys. But
Yeah, I
that
heard it's
in
flexible
between
too.
is where there's some concern, man.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we said that back in camp, right? When we went to go watch the guys, it's like you got your seniors, your high end guys, and then you got your young guys.
Yeah.
And it's just that's the roster. Like there is no in between, right? You don't have the depth of a 3-year guy that's kind of been in the wings and learning and growing. He just hasn't got it. Like that's kind of out the window right now. The way how things are basically kind of lining up. So you gotta do it again next year, right? I think like you say, like next year we lost 2 corners, but I think sitting here, we know who the corners are going to be next year at Ohio State. The starters, rather, most likely
Yeah.
be Matthews and Devin Sanchez, right? So you're not those 2 spots. Where are you, right? You're gonna wait another year and see, if someone leaves early or not. You don't know, right? And so I don't know. To me, it's just a lot of guys. We also I miss we kick our kicker, right? I can't forget our backup kicker got in the transfer portal. And I heard already we tried to land a kicker that we didn't get. We got outbidded for him, and we're
That's what we
offering
need to
guys out of high school.
listen, hold on. That's what we need to spend the money. All right. That's what we need to spend the money. I know kicker's one of those positions that you typically could find a guy. You don't
Mhm.
you would think that you don't have to spend a ton of money on a kicker. But when you're Ohio State and you lose 1 or 2 games a year, and in every loss, it's a missed field goal, and you're losing by 3 points, you gotta spend the money for the kicker. Like, your situation is different than most, right? Get the guy that you not only believe can make these field goals, you believe can make the field goals in the toughest moments when the pressure's on, and make it worth his while. And then I do think their approach to the portal is more so we get depth in the portal, we get productive players in the portal, and in certain positions where the money isn't as expensive, like a tight end. Right, tight ends aren't typically making topped out. Receivers
Yeah.
are, right? We'll go get us a tight end, right? A running back, all right? We'll go get us a running back. Yeah, we'll go find a safety here or there. But some of those positions where it's a little bit more pricey, it seems like Ohio State's approach is retain our guys. Like, can we get Caden McDonald back another year?
No.
Um,
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear the example. I hear the example.
but that's kind of the situation. Like quarterback, develop a quarterback and have a guy so that you don't have to go in the portal and go spend $6 million to go get the next quarterback. So yeah, I think that's kind of going to have to be Ohio State's approach, and I think that's kind of going to be Georgia's approach, Alabama's approach. All the teams that recruit 5 stars consistently, they're going to have to find out which one of these 5 stars are going to be the next elite players. Keep those
Yeah.
guys. Let the
And
other
let
guys
everybody
do what they got
else.
to do, and then find the next group of talented guys.
Yeah, and I found the kicker name. So it was David Olano. He was out of Illinois. I think he went. He had a decent percentage of the year. Had a long of 50. Looked like we offered him, but he has already signed. You're not gonna believe it. He already signed with Texas A&M. Who could believe?
Oh my
Who would have guessed? Right? No. So shout out to David. But I mean, obviously, we got to figure out that position and do better. Like, I mean, we got to do better. I mean, I think we sitting here whenever a guy goes out and no one is confident, and you talk to everybody to the game, and everybody you talk about like, yeah, I would have been surprised if he'd have been like it's just getting it's been going on too long. So yeah, let's
I
try to
think
check that
the
box.
fans, the lunatic fringe needs to step in and do
a
something more productive. Let's create like
a pool of money.
a
It's all
pool
about
of
money
money
now.
or a business
Yeah.
venture or something for a kicker. Like this is we got to call it something. we got to call it something and really support getting a kicker. Let's make a brand out of it. Let's make it a big thing. Let's want every kicker to want to come to Ohio State. We gotta solve for that. I think one position. I'm curious what you think, but one position that I really want to land a top guy. All right, we can get depth in certain areas, but I want to land a top guy as defensive end. I hope that we can
Special.
lock down a guy like Chaz Coleman. I need a guy on 3rd and long who's disruptive and gets to the quarterback. There's no reason on 3rd and 10 that the quarterback could just drop back. These routes could develop for 10 yards and there's no pressure. I just don't want to see that anymore moving forward. So I want a guy who could just rush, a speed rush off the edge who can get to the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, they're far and few, right? Those guys are gonna be a pretty penny in college. They're
Right.
a high draft pick. And once they get up for a contract in the NFL, they get another pretty penny there. I mean, it's just not that easy and simple to do, right? To kind of have these guys. But once again, we are Ohio State. Like, let's figure it out. Let's get one of
Yeah.
those guys. There's almost a no-brainer on 3rd and long that they're gonna go out there and win, be disruptive. Man, it's a clock in the quarterback's head, knowing that, man, I got a big league rusher here. Kind of like our guys looking at Bain and Mesidor. We got a big league rusher. We're gonna have to make a decision quick because this guy's coming. Yeah, let's land on one of those guys. Obviously, we got to still figure out a lot of how our team is going to shake out next year. But I wanted to kind of hit on this point because obviously a lot of guys are getting in the portal. And like you said, the money kind of makes the decision. It was a young man out of Texas University, a wide receiver. And when everybody transfers, they used to put out like a little statement, right? Here goes a statement. Thank you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, whoever Nation, for supporting me over these years. My decisions to go blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get in the portal now. Then always usually end with a Bible scripture, man. That's how they usually go. But anyway, basically, this young man had kind of put out a statement. And for more or less, it's basically, essentially, it felt like he almost was released from Texas, right? They kind of told him, like, hey, you're not a guy. You're not going to play in so many words. Obviously, we wasn't in the conversation. Obviously, he could be reading through the lines and wrote what he felt in between the lines. But it's almost like they went out their way and said, hey, we're going to release you. We're going to take this money that we said we was going to give you and try to get some more guys in here to this. He was a Texas guy. So I think that was he was a Texas guy. He loved Texas. He'll never leave Texas. This is his dream school. But now he got to go. I got to feel that way when I'm looking at Aaron Scott, Bryce. But this had to be, it's top blood. We're talking these are kids' dream schools to be at Ohio State. And now they get into the portal. Is that right, man? Should the schools be doing this, pushing these players out? Is that what we become? Are we cutting players now? Like,
so I would say this, and that's a good point because this portal thing works both ways. In that, you got a allotment of money that you're paying to a team. Okay, you go get 3 corners, 4-star, 5 stars that are coming in out of high school. The 4 and 5 stars that you have on the team that probably won't be starters. based on your projection as a coach, your evaluation and what you project forward, now you have to have a conversation with these guys, because are you going to be paying all of these 4 and 5 stars the same amount of money? Or do you say, look, we don't have a starting position for you next year? Like, you would be competing, but you would not be competing to be a starter. You would be someone who provides some depth. You'll be a guy who plays special teams. And as a player, you kind of telling me the future before I can even, try to impact it, right? So then
Right.
you're basically telling me, without saying it, get in the portal and see what you could do elsewhere, so I could take this money back and give to the next player. That has to be happening. You're talking about roster construction. It's no different than in NFL. The only thing that's different is that every year it's just a 1-year deal for everybody. So, and it's on both sides. It's the school side and the player side, because the school could just say, hey, look, you're making 50 grand. I will give you 5 next year. That tells me everything I need to know. That tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah. Cause obviously, like I say, I could argue till I'm blue in the face that that's not right. We should be doing this to our athletes. But I'm sure, and obviously I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna say that they're not taking away scholarships. They're not saying like, hey, get out of here, or next year your parents gonna have a $25,000 bill for you just to be at Ohio State. I hope it's not going that far. But the above and beyond in the NIL that we know the schools are, supposed to be, it shouldn't be pay to play. Sure, that used to be the rule. But
Right.
we know that's above and beyond. But we know the schools now have a right to kind of share some revenue and things of that nature. We could say, yeah, no more of that. Though. We could pull this from you. But if you want to be here, you can be here. But like you say, the writing's on the wall at that point, and you got to figure it out. 31% of the athletes going in the portal, to me, is just a problem.
Yeah.
It's the state of college football. I don't love it. I don't like it. I feel like eventually we're going to start losing some other things. Everything going to go to these top sports. We're going to start losing the gymnastics and the baseballs and if your house like the rifle and all these things. Like, we're going to start losing things because of how things are in the state of a sport when it comes to the major sports that we like to view here in America, essentially in the world, for that standpoint. I wanted to ask you one more thing, and I kind of losing my thought because I was rambling so much. I'm so hurt about the state of college football, man. But I don't know. Is it right, man? Is this what we wanted when we decided we're gonna start playing the athletes? And another thing on top of that, can the NCAA make a rule? That's what I wanted to ask you about. Can the NCAA get a rule? Like, can they actually come up with something to kind of help
I don't
out
think
with
they
this
can.
portal?
I don't think the NCAA has any power right now. I think they have very limited power. They really focus on, did you give a recruit a cheeseburger when you were supposed to, and we're gonna hit you with a violation. Like, they focus on the small things. When it comes to big money, TV deals, revenue share, they are limited in how much they can limit anything. And it's really the conferences. If someone's going to step up and change things, it's going to have to be the Power Four conferences coming together and saying, this is how we want to do it. The challenge is, what are teams incentivized by, right? So at the end of the day, everybody's going to be chasing their own incentives. I really wish that there was a way to put together some type of collective bargaining for the athletes, and in that way, someone negotiating on behalf of the what's best for the athlete long term can then drive a little bit of this structure for the future. But until then, it's going to be hard for someone to step up and really, create what's best. And honestly, it's not even the money is one thing, but it's the transfer portal and the way it's structured and the timeline of college football players and all those things that's truly messed up.
Yeah.
Because if kids got a 4-year deal and they were getting paid, I mean, things wouldn't be that much that different. I mean, guys wouldn't be staying in dorm rooms; they'd be staying in apartments and driving nice cars, but they still be playing for one team,
Yeah.
So it's just it's a total like failure in terms of leadership on how this thing should go. So.
Yeah, no, I just have to say I agree. But that's our time for today. Honestly, we continue to bring you guys news. We'll dive into these semifinals that will be coming up. What? next weekend or so. We still, obviously, we're cheering for our Big Ten guys, but they're playing each other. So, you know, there's only going to be one winner that gets to that championship. We'll bring you information on that. We're going to end this like we always do, chill with a nice OH.
Yo.
Go Bucks. I'll tell you guys soon.
Go Bucks.